Hello, welcome to Calls with your Kinky Bestie. I'm Emma. I am a submissive and mentor for fellow kinksters. This podcast is all about insights into kinky life and dating, sharing my personal experience and stories, and help share mindset shifts too to get you into a confident space, more confident than you are now. So get ready. It all starts now.
Oh my god. Bestie, welcome back. How was your holiday? Welcome to 2024. And I'm just so excited to be back in here doing this. Had a little bit of a rest last week for New Year's. I've been sick and not in the fun way. So my voice is a little, I have a little bit of a nasally thing hanging out in my nose, even though it's been basically 2 weeks. I also still have some random, my hearing has been a little bit messed up from this illness too. So that's why I sound a little bit different. Thank you for bearing with. But today's episode, we are chatting about 2024 energy as kinksters and going through this trend of, what's in and what's out for 2024. You know me, in human design, I am a generator. Yes. Do I even know me? So I do know that my strategy in human design, which if you don't know anything about human design, that's fucking okay. I honestly don't know a shit ton about it either, but it's just another introspective tool to learn about yourself. Don't know how much I believe in the actual science of it, but it's interesting, right? And my human design is to respond to situations happening around me. So instead of, people with another strategy, might prefer to sit in solitude and just let ideas come up, and that's how their creative process. Mine is not that. Mine is very much information coming to me and me responding and reacting to it. So I really do well with these types of trends. It's really gets my inspiration flowing. I love working through this kind of stuff, and I'm so glad that these types of trends exist, so we can talk about it and bring it into, kinky. Let's bring it into kink. Let's talk about our alternative sexual interests and desires and the life we want to be making for ourselves in 2024. So before I actually do the list of ins and outs, I want to clarify that this is my personal list of, with working with my mentor, with my mentees, and my mentor, because I have a mentor as well, in business. So I'm working, with my amazing kink mentee clients, and my own kink community, and myself. These are just things I'm noticing that need to fucking go, and also energy that I want to bring forth in 2024. So I would love to, I'm sure everyone has a different list and different thoughts on these, so please chime in. I actually already posted about this on Instagram Threads, which is kind of Instagram's version of Twitter now, which I'm not really a Twitter person. I'm still figuring this out. Maybe I'll post this to Twitter too to fuck around and find out. But definitely this is on Instagram Reels, this whole thread of all these things. So if it's helpful for you to see everything written out, or you just want to join in the conversation, that is the place to do it. My @ is just Kinky Bestie, and all that information is in the notes for the show. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what we are leaving in this past year in 2023. The shit that we're not bringing into our new reality with kink. Number 1 is hiding or tiptoeing around some of our kinks with our partners. Yes, this is a real fucking thing. And honestly, you might even do this. you might think you don't, but there's probably something that you are a little hesitant to talk about with your partner. And what I mean by partner, because of course we all have different definitions. And of course you might have multiple partners as well. So partners is actually what I had typed out in the thread. Who I'm talking about is the people that you are experiencing kink with and having these interactions with, and having these, just really wanting to, mutually experience these desires with. And even if, your romantic or sexual partner in life is not someone that you want to experience these kinks with, like, they're still your romantic and sexual partner that you've chosen, if you have one. So if you have this partnership, but you're not willing to, you just find yourself noticing that even if you have shared some kinks that feel a little bit more vulnerable, you are still hesitant to actually participate in that kink around them, have those conversations, even bring it up. You just still feel a little shy about it, even though this is, a part of who you are, is that you have these desires to do these things. And you also might just be straight up hiding some things, like some things you are searching out on your own, but not really willing to talk about. And I'll own up to this, that, there's some things that I'm a little bit hesitant to bring up all the time with my partner as well. And this is something that I am also working to move through in this next year and just get more comfortable with. Again, this is the person that, we've chosen as our partners, and we've chosen to be, the person who gets to see us most, and not only see us but also experience these things with us and just experience life with us. So I'm sick. I'm sick of not only myself but also, seeing my lovely mentees and people around me in the kink community holding themselves back from their partner, because there's so much beauty in what can be had there. And there's layers to this too. So even if, let's say, the reason that you're hiding some things from your partner is that you maybe know that this is not something they share. Maybe they even know or think or could assume that they have some like negative connotations towards whatever this kink or desire is that you have. Well, 2024 is not the year, even like whatever you're in, like whatever is happening for you. The new kinky energy is being with partners who accepts our kinks and our sexuality. And for so many of us, our kink is part of our identity. So we want our partners to be accepting of our identity as well. So what are the conversations that you need to have to leave that shit behind in 2023? Okay. Number 2, living in online fantasy land for too long. We are leaving that behind. What do I mean by this? Okay. And I am 100% convinced this is a universal experience. So if this has not been your universal experience, please fucking send me a little message and tell me what was your version of this instead. Because what I mean by this is that when a lot of people start with kink and are still, in that phase of being too hesitant to really bring it up in their real, like their day-to-day life, their day-to-day people, like their friends, partners, people you're dating, whatever. Instead, it's a lot, it's a pretty safe alternative to instead live in this online fantasy land where maybe you set up a FetLife profile, or maybe you're even not even interacting with other people online, but you're just using, like porn or literotica type resources. So that's the route this can go, but also And the path that I stayed on a little bit longer in my kink journey was this online fantasy land of online relationships, even though that wasn't my end goal with kink and really what I wanted to be doing. Like, I would have much rather, and what I was trying to get by having these online relationships was some sort of like in-person fulfillment, like emotional, physical fulfillment of what my desires were. But by doing that in these online relationships, you're literally cutting yourself off from being able to have those experiences in person with real life people. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong or bad about starting in the online fantasy land, but also the online fantasy land can be a really fun, lovely place. But what I'm saying is staying in that little area of internet world with kink for too long, because it does become just some sort of lovely little brain tactic to procrastinate or like self-sabotage, all the in-person stuff you want to experience. And you deserve the in-person stuff that you want to experience. So let's go get that for you. Okay, last one, number 3. This is what's out in 2024. We're leaving this behind. And this one is self-isolating by staying silent about your interests. Because, as a kink community and as kinky people, we can literally only find you if you are in kinky spaces or just showing up as a kinky person, online or in real life. Because I can't tell you, like, how many relationships or, even partial acquaintances I've known that, like, I've been living my kinky life and they've been living their kinky life, but because we weren't going to, like, the same kinky online or physical spaces, or even just, like, not showing up as kinky people, like, we weren't, really chatting about those interests. You just, had no idea. So you might be surrounded by your people this whole fucking time, but instead you're just living in this isolated realm, and keeping your interests and your desires and, again, your fucking identity, because your kink is your identity. So much of kink is based around identity, especially this, power play dynamics piece and role playing. It's all rooted in identity. So it's really important that we're conscious of that and see it as such, because, the way that we think about our desires, which is our identity, and how we allow ourselves or don't allow ourselves to act on it or show up as it or communicate that we are and want those things. I forget how I started that sentence. But respect yourself, respect your desires, and part of respecting them is accepting them and sharing them with others. So stop isolating yourself. Go be in those kinky places, find those kinky people, and that's out. We're done with it. Okay, so we'll take a little break. We'll come back and we'll talk about what is in for 2024. So the energy that we are calling in, what we as a kinky collective want to be shifting into. And all the positive growth, fun stuff that I'm so excited for. So we will chat soon, my friend.
Just a little break to share that if you are loving this podcast and my content, if I'm someone you could see yourself working with, but you're wanting more direct support for your specific situation, I do offer mentorship. It's personalized to you, private video or phone calls with me, so you can chat about your situation and figure out a solution that's going to work for you. You can visit my website. It is kinkybestie.com/mentorships to see what's available and to book in your spot on my calendar. It's kinky with a Y at the end and bestie with an IE at the end. The link will be in the show notes, so you can check it out there. Back to the show.
Okay, we're back. We're talking about our in and out list for 2024 and what is in for 2024. So, by that I mean the energy that we're shifting into, how we want to start showing up as kinksters, or just accepting more of. And again, this is my personal list. Yours might look different. Okay. Here's the first thing that's in. And this is the one that I've been really getting into this past 2-3 days at the time of recording this. Okay. It is having houses that look like kinksters live there. You are a kinkster. You are a kinkster. Would you know that walking into your house? And if you wouldn't know that walking into your house, well, the reason that's a problem is because, again, your kinky desires are a part of your identity. And even if you maybe don't consider kinkiness to be part of your identity yet, or it's not that big a piece of your identity, it's still an interest and a desire you have. So the same way that you celebrate your hobbies and show off your achievements in other areas of your life within your own home. Again, your own home where you live and where you are spending the majority of your life. It should be a space that is representative of the person who lives there. And of course there's nuance to this because, people have weird family situations. People have, maybe even children. Hard for me to imagine as a child-free, sterilized woman, but, maybe you have children. Or maybe you have a roommate with children, or things like that. And this is not to say you need to go literally, balls to the walls crazy and cover your house with erotic art. But how can 2024 be the year that your home and wherever you're having this type of play is more representative and more not in alignment, what's the word I'm looking for? We're just more practical for that, even. Because again, I get this. I have been there. I have been hiding away my sex toys in my closet and then forgetting I have half the sex toys that I have because they're crammed in my closet getting dusty. And for as big of a part of my life this is, and as big of a part of my life that I want this to be, this is aspirational for me to live in more of, not necessarily 24/7, but making more hours of my day and days of my week and weeks of my year about the kinky part of me. So that also means aligning your home accordingly. So if you can't go crazy, if there are some logistical limitations you have, just how can 2024 again just be the year that you create a little bit more space for yourself and who you are? And maybe that means creating some boundaries around okay, I've got, kids in my house, or I might have family over, things like that going on. So there might be some boundary setting that happens around this, and maybe there's creating intentional spaces that this is where the kinky shit is. And I'll give you an example, how I do this whenever I have company over. I've set my bedroom up to be my play space. And when I tell people when they come over, if they're vanilla, which rarely ever happens that I have vanilla people over, the biggest example I can think of this is if I have, my parents, my family over, I let them know hey, you're welcome to be in my home. You're invited over. However, if you don't want to know what goes on in my bedroom because we disagree on some things, don't go in my bedroom. Keep that door closed. It's really as simple as that. And you can word it however you want. The way I worded it just now is probably not actually the way I'd word it to my parents. But it communicates the same message. So there's, so many different ways that this can look and things that this could be. And again, I understand that there's a lot of logistics with this. And consent is very important. So obviously if you're having people into your your home who maybe this isn't their lifestyle, you've at least got to give them a heads up and make sure they're cool with seeing certain things. But that's part of my point too. So if you're a kinky person and you live in a kinky space, the people who are in your life should, like how can we get more people in our life in 2024 that are cool with who we are and how we want to live? That's the energy. Okay, that was kind of a long one. Okay, number 2, the next thing that's in 2024 is making kink fucking normal. Because this is a normal part of your life. This is, part of your day-to-day or every other day or whatever kind of thing. So how can you have more relationships where you can have conversations around kink? How can you just get this out of the secret zone? Because this is not this maybe it is some big secret about who you are now. But in 2024, how can this not be some big secret about you? Like, how can this just be a more normal part of your life? Is all I'm saying. Because you deserve that. We all deserve to be open and embracing of ourselves. And part of that is being around people and being in situations where that is openly embraced as well and accepted and normalized. Okay. And just as a little aside with this, just a little suggestion, if you're making kink more normal in 2024, you should start interacting with kinky shit that you like when you see it on social media. Because, and again, there's logistics to this. Maybe if this is your professional account that your boss and all your coworkers follow, that's a different situation. Maybe you're interacting with it more privately, like sending the post directly to one of your kinky friends or something like that. But my point is, how can we make this a more normal part of your life? So if you do have a professional social media with your boss and all your coworkers, but you're a kinky bitch and you want to be able to make that a normal part of your life, well, maybe we're looking at getting a different social media platform without any of those eyes, so that you can feel really comfortable in, being entertained by the social media that you want to be entertained by and who you want to be having your eyes on and interacting with. Or, maybe it's changing your job. Maybe it's changing your job so that you can just fully be the person you are. But I understand that this is a journey and we've all got different steps. So, oh, so sorry. Like I said, getting over a sickness. Okay. So another way that you can make kink normal is kink can be in your email news box or email inbox. So this is just a plug that in 2024, a way that I'm shifting things in my business is I'm doing a freaking newsletter. So you'll get email newsletter updates from me about all the cool shit that's happening. This is a great way to interact with kinky people without having to be like public about it on social media, because your email inbox is private. Unless it's like your corporate one. Don't follow me with your corporate one. But your like normal everyday email address, why the fuck not? This is a normal part of your life. You should be getting, fun stuff in there that you want to interact with. Okay. Next thing that we're bringing in for 2024. And, these, actually, I'll just merge the last two together, because the third one I had was like community events and just being with kinky people in real life. But my fourth one was having kinky best friends. And basically what I mean by this is just like, community that's not just your partner, because your partner probably knows that you're kinky. But like, what about the rest of your life? So these two can really go together. 2024, let's just talk about creating, either like joining communities that already exist for all the lovely kinky stuff that you want to have in your life, but also creating like smaller communities, like your, closest friends, and growing that to be fucking kinky people who have those shared desired interests, same shared desires and similar interests to you and similar values because, we make this a part of the way that we seek out friends and have relationships for other areas of our life and for other interests of our life. So why the fuck wouldn't we do this for kink? Because, hey, it's 2024. You are kinky. This is a normal part of your life as a kinky person, is having kinky people in your life and going to spaces, being in places, seeking out cool events, and just showing up and being there with all of your people, because you are that person. Those are your people. So, woo, that's the energy we're bringing into 2024. I would love to hear from you, and also just challenge you to reflect on what are your in and outs for 2024? What resonated with you? If there are areas that, like, maybe some of the outs that really stuck out to you as something that you've been trying to kick out of your life for a while now, but that last little kick has been tough. Or, you need extra support with problem solving for some of the ways that you want to bring in some of this new kinky normalcy into your reality. Talk to me. Oh my God, I have one-on-one kink mentorship where you can work with me as a one-on-one person. You can have lovely virtual video calls with me. I also offer text mentorship, which isn't, I actually don't have any spots for the text mentorship right now because I limit it so that, everyone has a good experience with it. But I plan to have another spot open for that soon. So join that email newsletter, which is, the sign up link is in the show notes, so that you can be notified whenever that spot does open up, which should be here pretty soon. And yeah, so all that kind of stuff. Just small little biz updates and some life stuff. I got a fucking machine for Christmas from my dom. And holy shit, Instagram really wants to talk about it. And if you follow me on Instagram, you're probably fucking sick about hearing about this fucking machine. But, like, I'll stop talking about it when everybody stops being interested in it, okay? But yeah, if you are curious about that kind of content and more of that, like, personal side of my life kind of stuff, go hang out with me on Instagram. We have a lot of fun over there. My tag is just Kinky Bestie. Again, it's in the show notes. Small change to my business. In addition to the newsletter being a very real thing, I'm also changing payment processors. So for text mentorship and for, like, credit card processing, I've been using Stripe. And Stripe has decided that I'm too spicy for them. So I'm changing payment processors. That's happening. But honestly, by the time this episode published, that might have already happened. So this shouldn't affect too much of, like, day-to-day things. But I guess I just wanted to share for people who are maybe interested in kinky entrepreneurship some of the, like, very interesting things that, come up and that you run into. So that, I had no idea. Like, I seriously didn't even view myself as violating their policies because, again, kink is just so fucking normal to me. It doesn't even register. But, their policies literally said, no, like, explicit pornography or content depicting sex acts kind of thing. And in my little ADHD black and white head, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't sell porn, so everything's going to be fine. Well, it turns out there was some reading between the lines that Stripe wanted to have happen there. So I'm changing away from that processor, and there's probably going to be some other areas of, like, techie stuff throughout my business this year, like maybe my website and scheduling tool that are going to be changing a little bit. So thank you for being with me on this ride. I'm going to be making everything as smooth as I possibly can, and that's why I'm doing some like preventative steps now to make that transition, like, more in my own timeline than someone else's. But that's what's going on. Also, if you're more curious about, some of these business updates things, the email newsletter is going to be, I've decided, like that's right now where I'm really sharing more of that stuff. So again, if you're interested in like kinky entrepreneurship, just the behind the scenes, what this is all actually about kind of thing, go sign up and you'll get lovely, silly little updates from me about what's going on. Okay. That was a long one, longer than I anticipated, so I will stop talking. Jesus, with these podcast episodes, I always get myself thinking, how am I gonna start this episode? I only have a few talking points. How on earth am I gonna make it for the whole 20 minutes? And then inevitably, I have to actually cap down and like filter through some of my thoughts, because if I didn't, I'd actually be going for a full fucking hour. And whoa, hour-long episodes is just not something I am ready to commit to. And neither are y'all, because I have an ADHD audience, okay? Y'all have short attention spans. I see the listen times. I know how long you're listening to my episodes. I watch the stats. So we're keeping it. Oh my god. Alright, that's the sign. We're keeping it as short as we can. And I will see y'all next week. Thank you for dealing with my sick ass. Bye, bestie.
Thank you so much for joining me this episode. You can follow the podcast on the platform where you're listening to get updates with new episodes. You can follow me on social media at kinkiest. I'm on Instagram. You can also check the show notes for any links or resources that I talked about in this episode, or just more ways to connect with me. And please share this with your kinky friends who could benefit from this type of content. There is also an option for each podcast episode to engage with Q&As or polls. So I'd love to hear from you and create future episodes around what you want to chime in with. So please check those out in the show notes too. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.